I've always told you. Let me show you this guy right here. 50 Cent once said this guy was the single-handed reason why New York City radio and hip-hop went in a decline. I hate to say that, I do agree. He's a guy from the Bay Area. He was given the title of program director at Hot 97. And this was a guy who, with all due respect, had zero foresight for where the game was going. He was like exactly what the record labels were. The record labels, and let me not go down that path, but I'll just make it a two-liner. The record labels got all fucked up and they were fucking stuck on stupid, and mad niggas got fired when they realized that people could burn a CD and upload the shit to a peer-to-peer sharing software like Kazaa, LimeWire, Napster. The music industry, bang! It was in a dismal downfall. This is why the tech companies saved music. Because when they couldn't sell physical product anymore, the industry was looking bleak. They were pushing the government to try to shut these people down, and they were trying to get indictments, and that's where you see DJ Drama gets arrested for doing mixtapes. The labels, and this is record labels, they're always late to the party. It wasn't until later streaming, and this is why streaming pretty much, they would have kicked the labels out of the whole situation with music if the labels in their own catalog, but that's another thing we'll talk about. But the point is this: in this game, it's very important to have some foresight of what's coming. Now, this guy right here, I need to remind you of his history. This guy gets the program director at Hot 97. And by the way, I want to warn everybody, he's at the same position at Apple. I want to remind you who he is. He's a guy who doesn't prepare for change, and he sticks on the here and now until it's too late and the rug is pulled out from underneath his foot. I want to remind everybody, this is a warning. This is a warning. I want to tell you my first interaction with him. And this is an entire lesson. I want you guys to sit here and listen to me, because I'm going to walk you through it. If they'll say everything about me. Oh, he came above Warren Chirac. He's this, he's that. These days, this guy hates my guts. One of the reasons he hates my guts is because I've championed a lot of the younger artists. These younger artists he thought were helping to destroy hip-hop. The younger artists I helped champion, they all run hip-hop. They're doing the stadiums, or not stadiums, but the arenas now. NBA Youngboy, Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi Vert. He wanted to be the gatekeeper. He wanted to play God. He thought he was bigger than the program. But my story with him goes back further. In 2010, actually it's around 2012 actually. I'm kind of buzzing a little bit on the college scene in Jersey. I'm no DJ Walla or nothing. Shout out to Walla. But kind of buzzing a little bit, trying to figure out the next step. I'm doing radio. College radio. At my campus, Rutgers University. And I'm like, man, how do I get to the next level? I want to get to the next level. I decided around that time, I said, man, you know what? It would be dope if I could get interviews. But I said, no artist would want to interview me. I was like a nerd. Like, and they try to make some of these terms very bad, but I've studied every industry, and the reason I'm not like them, I've never thought about, is because I've used my skills to project into the future. I've never thought about what it is and hope it never changes. I anticipate a change. Keep in mind, I'm a math major. A lot of what we do is you take the current numbers and then you have to make a projection on what's going to happen. You look at trends, you look at data. So I was trying to become a personality, or I wanted to be in the music business. I was DJing. So I was, the way I got into DJing, I was producing. I was really inspired by Kanye West, Heat Makers, Just Blaze. I was producing. Didn't really know nobody. I was at Rutgers University. Then me and my friends, we started throwing parties. I said, well, I know how to use all the equipment and the software because I was like looping a lot of stuff and using virtual DJ. So I'll be the DJ. So I start DJing, then I get to radio or college radio. And I realized I'm Jamaican. If you guys ever in Jamaica, the radio DJ is called Selecta. I'm over here. I'm like, yo, hey, I need to, like, if you ever think about dancehall, the DJ is the voice of the culture. So I say, you know, I'm going to do some radio shit. How do I get bigger than that? I'm like, all right, man, I got to try to interview people. Didn't really know how to interview people like that. I was still really kind of like learning, but I was learning on the job. That's the great thing about being an entrepreneur. And that's another thing we're going to underscore along all of this. No, I never carried a crate for a motherfucker. No, I never interned and made niggas coffee and just sat outside the room like a goofy. No, I never did any of that. Honestly, maybe I would have. I'm not saying I was too prideful. I just didn't have the connects. Even though I was in New Jersey and all these stations are in New York, I didn't really know nobody that did anything. And what I was going to school for had nothing to do with motherfucking media. You see, now they try to like knock people like me. They're like, no, you're not a journalist. Like somebody who went to school for a journalist degree, which, by the way, journalism or communications degree, that's just the easiest thing in the world. Nigga, I graduated with a biomathematics degree. And also have a degree in sociology, but who cares about that? I did have to keep my grades up. Anyway, the point is this. I start trying to offer to do interviews. Love and Hip Hop was popping at the time, and I'm trying to like, let me just try to see if I can talk to any of these Love and Hip Hop chicks. And I always tell people that my breaking point in me starting to broadcast myself, and by the way, we're now 15 years later. My breaking point in starting to sit on this mic by myself. And I remember one of the first times, I remember doing a Yeezus album review in a closet. Because I was tired of chasing around these pompous motherfuckers who all thought they were the shit. I said, this shit ain't cut out for me if I need to beg these motherfuckers who think their shit don't smell to sit right next to me, that I could have some visibility. If I can't make it with me just popping my shit, my insight, my breakdown, the things I think I'm good at and I could elevate with, I don't want this shit. And that actually was the best decision I made. But before then, I was reaching out to everybody. Charlemagne tells that story. I tell the story. Charlemagne was one of the only niggas that said, because me and him used to argue on Twitter, and it wasn't like argue like I'm dissing, but it was just like I listened to the show every day. I was a student. Listen to all this shit. Student. You got to be a student of all this if you really want to get into it. So I would kind of like try to find things that maybe like logically he wasn't whatever, or maybe he was missing the point on whatever. And I would like tweet at him and argue with him. And I ain't gonna lie, he would engage. That was back when Charlemagne would actually tweet. That was cool. I did an interview with him. Some people have seen it. A lot of people have seen it. Way back. It's like in 2013.
Architect of aggravation, Charlotte.
Ironically, 2013, you hear Charlemagne said hip hop is in a golden era. This is no diss to you, Charlemagne. This is Raccoon. Charlemagne. No bleached skin. No, not bleach, but like no pigmentation face. This is raw Charlemagne. I know this is a slow story. Just buckle up. So I did this interview, and I was very proud about it. I was pretty much a novice. I was giving Charlemagne credit. I didn't even know how to outro the thing. Charlemagne told me how to outro. I can't even lie. I think he said it before too. Cool. I reached out to Hot 97 and I wanted to talk to them. I reached out and I hit up. I wanted to talk to Ebro. At the time, there was a music producer or a music director. Her name was Carly Hustle. When I reached out in chat, there's going to be a lesson in all of this. When I reached out, I was greeted with they looked at me as the ops. Obviously, I looked up to Charlemagne. I was a huge fan of his. But because my interview with him was out, they told me, ain't you Charlemagne's boy? Why the fuck will we be doing something with you? Subsequently, nothing ever happened. We never did the interview. I hope you're starting to hear and realize the lesson. WQHT Hot 97, which was owned at that time by a company called MS Communications. The radio DJs who were all employees of Hot 97 were in a O Block 63rd beef with the people who worked at Power 105. They were in full beef. I live in Jersey. Anybody in New York knows. You couldn't, at a point, if you went to a big party, you couldn't have a Power 105 DJ and a Hot 97 DJ on the same lineup. It was straight up beef. Now, think about this, and this is why it's very important to recall some of these things. These motherfuckers were beefing, gangbanging pretty much, for a company they didn't own. But you know what? They felt like they did. Why? They walked around like big shots. When they had that low